Why regular study should continue even after formal education? They will tell us. Where is the timekeeper, Prabhu? Yes. Ring the bell.
Okay, thank you all.
Loudly. Hey? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So forgive us, we have a bunch of notes. Our presentation isn't perfect, but or blooming exactly. So to address the question, why regular study should continue even after formal education. One prevents spiritual complacency. Actually, what you said, Prabhu, perfectly segues into this next part. The world is full of distractions. So absorbing in spiritual study will give us wisdom that counteracts these many distractions. Social media, for example, or if someone's online, they might want to go to certain reels and look or these different things. But absorbing in Bhagavatam, absorbing in Scripture, will give us a countermeasure to the many distractions of the world. And then also in the social media, or you could say media space, there's the opportunity to seek out spiritual information. So, watching reels on Prabhupada's lectures, or there's so much content out there that's being created. So secondly, enhances our seva to Guru and Krishna. Again, the mind is very restless, and because of our conditioning, it's selfish. So Sastra is giving us so many examples of those who are serving Guru and Krishna, and the importance of serving Guru and Krishna, and how orienting towards God, towards Krishna, gives us a deeper fulfillment. So angling, Kapila Dev gave the actually I think Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, you said a pivot. The mind is a pivot in your Subodhini. So we can choose to go a certain way, or we can choose to go towards the Lord. So absorbing in Sastra will give us that orientation and those examples where we can do it. And practically, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, these are books that are very much give guidance on day-to-day life for a devotee. And then many examples, Prithu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. And then, ultimately we hear the mood of a devotee is to be a servant of the servant of the servant. Gopi Pada Kamala Yor Dasa Dasa Anudas. So the devotees have that mood, they carry that mood. And from absorbing in Sastra, we get to learn that and be reminded of it. So thirdly, ensures a strong foundation for preaching and guidance. Basically, you can't give what you don't have. So when we're taking in stories of devotees interacting with the Lord, and all the practical examples like Lord Shiva of tolerating Daksha's anger, we get to actually learn about these spiritual dynamics that we can then share with others and figure out how to apply. So it's rich in our own mind, these stories that we can then churn and give to others. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example of being immersed in the scripture. There was so much on that with Ramananda Roy, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Yeah, so by reading scripture, absorbing in scripture, we get to see how Mahaprabhu, as the example of the ultimate devotee, is absorbing himself and his devotees in scripture, and we can mimic that practice. The mind is also a storehouse. The content we take and we put into our minds, we then have available to give to others. So what we put in the mind is really important. So if we're putting in spiritual wisdom, we'll be able to give it to others. And then another point, okay, we have 2 minutes. The Bhagavatam itself is sequential. So it starts with simplistic, you could say, but building. And when we're taking in these examples, we're getting ideas of how to give information to others from a basic level, you could say, all the way up to the topmost level. So that's the Bhagavatam. And the ultimate desire of a devotee is to be with other devotees in Harikatha. So we see that time and time again. And when we spend our time in Harikatha with other devotees, we get nourished and we can create community around that. So the fourth and final point, Krishna, why spend time with the Bhagavatam? Krishna is non-different from the Bhagavatam. Krishna is non-different from his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. So when we're spending time with the Bhagavatam, we're spending time with the Lord. And we ourselves are getting purified. And in that purification, we can hopefully share with others, help to purify in some little way others. That's what we have.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada also says that Achar Prachar means when we regularly study and preach for preaching purpose is very effective for practice of reading Bhagavatam and all.
Yes.
Regarding the 4 point strong connection with Krishna developing, so I can say from my personal experience that I worked for 18 years, but after coming here and studying Vidyapit, I'm personally feeling in my life that I'm developing stronger connection with Krishna. So this is my self-interest that in spite of busy schedule, I should find time to study Bhagavatam even after Vidyapit.
Very good. Thank you. Haribo. You want to say something? See, you presented well, all the points you covered. At the same time, we should speak something which people will not forget. They will be able to, for example, in the previous section which we spoke, actually, therefore, if we speak pictorially, then people will not forget. Like, for example, I said the distractions outside and the desires inside. So both are DD, isn't it? One is outside, another one is inside. So this I think many people are likely to remember this when you talk about it. Yeah. Another thing I said, the devotion in the heart should be strengthened and the intelligence should become focused. That is also easy to remember because Vyavasayatmaka Buddhir Ekeha Gurunandana. We want to have one-pointed intelligence. And those two are awarded by Bhagavatam study. We get a one-pointed intelligence in Krishna's lotus feet, fixity, and we can strengthen our devotion to the heart. How? By cleansing the heart. Who cleanses? Paramatma cleanses. So all these things will come to remembrance. So whenever you finish one section of this, one group is finishing, if you ask the audience, what are some 2-3 points each group said? At the end, without looking at the booklet, they should be able to say. Whenever I would ask for a revision, some boys would immediately open the notebook. I would tell them, no, you cannot touch the notebook. Keep the notebook. From here, whatever you remember, you should say. Why? Otherwise, the notebook will go back to Godhead. If you have to go back to Godhead, you have to remember. Don't look at the notebook. So you can actually put things in your own words, but we have to assimilate and then present it. How do you assimilate, present it? So I was telling those. Another point I was telling was about how when you get out of a school and college, life becomes busy. Similarly, you get out of a study atmosphere like this, life gets busy in ISKCON. It's an analogy, similarity. And when life gets busy, we don't touch the books. Similarly, in ISKCON life also, managers, leaders may not get time to touch the book, especially for a manager or a temple president, things like that. So at the same time, we said that if you develop a taste, then you can keep in touch with books. No matter. I asked Radha Gopinath Prabhu once in Chapari temple, Prabhuji, ever since I became president of Pune temple, I'm not getting time. Months are passing without touching Bhagavatam. I don't know, Prabhuji, how to make time. I'm making plan, but the plan fails. I make a plan, I'm about to open the Bhagavatam, somebody comes for a meeting immediately. So Prabhuji said, no, I will tell you how to study. He said, I will show you how to study. So in one of the days, I came on a Sunday and stayed with him for Monday. Monday evening, I was going to this Bhaktivedanta hospital, for a program in the train. There was such a jam-packed train with thousands of people. They were practically squeezing our bones inside the train. And there I saw Prabhuji was holding the Bhagavatam like this. And then he called me, Radheshyam, see, this is how I study, he said. And then he said, where there is a will, where there is a will, Krishna shows the way. Because Krishna says, dadami buddhi. So if you have interest to study, then Krishna will show you some way. Isn't it? So, in this way, that is the day. Then I understood. I said, Prabhuji, this is the way you have to study Bhagavatam. I can also get time, I told him. In Pune, no matter how busy it is, while going, coming, I can catch up. After that, I made it a practice. I'll never go anywhere unless I have some reading material with me. Carry with us. So I was telling about the taste. Similarly, in the second group now, which we are talking now, uh, this is about why regular study should continue even after the formal education. When you talk about, we also should tell about the danger of not reading Bhagavatam. What will happen if you don't read? Doubts will come. And there are many distractions. Like in the previous group also they were saying about, when I don't have contact with Bhagavatam, I am going to be distracted by various things in this world. And once doubts come, doubts are like what? In Bhagavata, what Krishna says, Arjuna used one word for destroying the doubts. Madhusudana, he says, Madhusudana. So doubts are like demons. That means if I don't read Bhagavatam, demons are going to surround me from all directions. Doubt demons. So we have one program in Pune called the Samshaya Nash Shraddha Prakash. So this is a whole 3 days we use for this. Put all your doubts in boxes. We have your faith in ISKCON, doubts about ISKCON. Faith in Krishna, doubts about Krishna. Faith about devotees, doubts about devotees. Also, even faith in Prabhupada, doubts about Prabhupada. They put in 6 boxes, they put. Then we put all of them in PPT. And then 3 days we smashed all the doubt demons. And the third day, boys are jumping. Prabhuji, now we will chant 16 rounds now. Because the doubts are gone, boys jump from 8 rounds to 16 rounds. So similarly, you want to destroy the doubts, then we have to keep regular touch with Bhagavatam. That is one of the first point. And the example is given. Say you want to drive a car from one place to another. What is the most essential thing in the car that you need to drive the car from one place to another? Fuel, isn't it? That would fuel in the car. Similarly, what is the most essential thing for a plant to grow from a sapling to a tree? Water. That means you will see the reading of the Bhagavatam is like supplying water to the plant. That's the example Kaviraj Goswami gives, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. Or it's like putting petrol in the car. Otherwise, we just cannot progress in spiritual life. There is no scope only. If you're not keeping regular touch with the Bhagavatam and reading and understanding and developing our awareness. So, and by not reading, our body will function more materially. And by reading, our body will function more spiritually. Just like iron rod, put in fire, becomes fiery. Iron rod not put in fire doesn't behave like fire. So we all want to, all of us sitting here, you want to behave spiritually or materially? Spiritually. Then we have to put ourselves in the fire of Bhagavatam. So keeping in touch with Bhagavatam will make us spiritual personalities. And that is very vital for us to speak, think, and also act in a spiritual manner. So that's first point. If you want to destroy the spiritual complacency, the contact with Bhagavatam is required. That's the first point made. Second point made about is, seva alone is not enough, because Krishna is not just concerned about the quantity of service we do. He is most concerned about the mood in which we do. Like we say, loving devotional service, not grudging devotional service. Like one devotee on a Thursday morning was called for Pujari Seva. He said, Prabhuji, according to schedule, mine is on Monday. He said, manager said, we know very well. Yours is on Monday only, therefore I am requesting. Otherwise, why will I request? If it is your schedule, anyway you will do it. I am coming and requesting because this is additional unscheduled service. Then immediately he became very morose. He said, what is this, Prabhuji? I have to do this, I have to do that. So I told the devotee, unscheduled service is another name for costless mercy. When it comes, with what attitude you receive it. If you are ready to welcome it with open arms, and you are ready to modify your day in such a manner that you can adjust other things, then you get a lot of mercy. So in seva, one most important component in service is the service attitude. So service attitude is the soul of service. If service attitude is not there, then the service is not acceptable by Krishna. Actually, Krishna appreciated seva bhava of Kubja. Krishna appreciates. It's not that he's attracted to her beauty. Krishna accepted the service attitude of Vidurani, or anybody for that matter. You find many other examples. So, how does the service mood arise? Hmm? Service mood spiritualizes the service. Otherwise, service is mundane. Like His Holiness Sachidadas Maharaj writes that, we are not just book distributors, we are faith distributors. Uh, Because what is the difference between, like if you take one universal book, uh, you know, this transporters, big bus they have. You can load it with books and go and deliver it some village and come back. That's not book distribution. Distribution means when devotees are chanting, dancing, distributing books, telling people about Krishna, telling people about Prabhupada, giving them faith. So then that is a service attitude which is inbuilt in service, which is very important. Okay, let us assume Radheshyamdas, I am not in contact with Bhagavatam. What is likely to happen to my service, I will tell you. Our service entering may go to Tamaguna, Rajaguna. Visandaya yo himsam dambham matsaryameva va samrambhi bhinna drigbhavam sa bhakti tamasam uchyate. He says, Abhisandayo himsam. We may be violent devotees. Violent devotee means one who is very callous or insensitive to the other devotees. A violent devotee. For example, somebody want to practice Mridangam. In the afternoon, some devotees are taking little rest or nap they are taking. Play like this, it looks like as if the sky has fallen down. For the other devotees. So, violent devotee means is very insensitive about other devotees. Or dambam means a boastful devotee. One devotee came to me and said, Radheshyam Prabhu, हमने ये भक्त को कड़ा किया भक्ति में, अभी हमको छोड़कर उसके पास जाना चाहता है. He was telling, he want to leave me and go to another devotee. इसको ठीक तरह से समझ आइए. Then I told him, okay, I told that young devotee to go away and took this fellow to my office. And I closed the room. उसको बाद में समझाऊंगा, पहले आपको समझाऊंगा. हमको क्या समझाना है सर? आप क्या कड़ा करोगे उसको? तुम खुद ही गिड़गिड़ा रहे हो आप. You think you brought him to Krishna consciousness? When you do your devotional service, Krishna sends some people to you for caring, if he is pleased with your devotional service. Otherwise, we should never have that pride that I brought somebody to Krishna consciousness. So I was telling this devotee. So why this devotee is behaving like this? Because of not having contact with the Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam will teach us to give up the false pride. Abhisandaya, yohimsam, dambam. Matsaryam means this is a big problem in the material world. His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj, he says, this matsar is like machar, he says. This machar, where is he going to bite? By the time you bite, he goes and bites somewhere else. Envy keeps coming towards this devotee, to that devotee, this devotee. It keeps coming again and again like a mosquito, he says. So, when I don't study Bhagavatam, I can be subject to envy. Himsam, dambam, matsaryam. Samrambhi means angry devotee. Sometimes devotees become angry. Haribol, are you going to do this service or not? Like that they ask. But Haribol is supposed to be lovingly pronounced. Haribol, Prabhu. So his Haribol is like horrible. So, Samrambhi, Bhinnadrik Bhavam. Bhinnadrik means separatist mentality. Bhinnadrik means what? Like one day I was going on Harinam, one particular devotee was missing on Yellow Brigade. Hey, where is the devotee? They said, Prabhuji, he says he want to do Shravanam. He said. Then I called him. How did you suddenly get inspiration for Shravanam when we are all going on Harinam? He said, Prabhuji, मुझे लगता है कि बहुत दिन हमने पढ़ाई नहीं किया. So he was telling. So then afterwards we told, now all of us are going to do Bhagavatam study together for next 1 hour. He said, Prabhuji, I feel I have to go for Harinam now. Now he will go for one Harinam. Whatever others do, he will do the opposite. So some devotees are separatists. They will never mix with devotees. They will not do, like we say, do in Rome as Romans do. But they don't. Binadrik means separatist mentality. He always thinks very independently, whimsically. So all those bad things are examples of lack of service attitude. So when our service attitude is lacking, then the service is not pleasing to the Lord. But Bhagavatam, if you are studying, we will be ashamed of our own lack in Seva Bhav. At least we can see ourselves. Yeah, that, oh, I am claiming to be a devotee. What kind of devotee I am? I have so many bad qualities. So when I can actually feel that I lack some good qualities, then that is the way we grow in our spiritual life. So, uh, and also when we are, the third point talks about when you want to preach, if you want to give relevant and authentic answers to people's questions and doubts, then you have to be in touch with the Shastra. Because if you are not well versed in scriptures, we won't have anything valuable to share with people. Like, for example, you catch a devotee who has a habit of doing a lot of prajalpa. Just put a one challenging question to him. Prabhu, please tell me some glories of Krishna. Immediately, one word they won't speak. As if you put a band-aid in their mouth. Prajalpa, they can do a lot. But tell them to speak glory because they have not read Bhagavatam. When you are reading Bhagavatam, when you are in touch with Bhagavatam, you will always have something interesting to share, something valuable to share, something will benefit everybody. We can share. But if you are not in touch with Bhagavatam, it's one of the Gopakshana Maharaj has told a very interesting, humorous thing. He said, if you are always reading Bhagavatam, he said, Bhagavatam knowledge will be dripping, it will close to your forehead, it will just come out of your mouth, he said. And if you're not in touch with Bhagavatam, it will go behind. Therefore, you do like this. What is that? I forgot. Selling. You're selling. Why people do like this? It has gone behind your selling. So, that is why if you want to preach, Gaurang Prabhu used to say, see, you go to any temple anywhere in the world, you have to give a lecture. All you need is just take one shloka of Bhagavatam. Just take and put one shloka on the screen and word by word you explain it, classes over. That's all. There are so many verses of Bhagavatam like that. You just take it. So that's the advantage of Bhagavatam. Everything in the Bhagavatam it's like packed wisdom, exhaustive it is. So yes, we have studied before, but if you are in regular touch, we will advance. We'll be able to preach something meaningful. The last one is fourth one develops a strong connection with Krishna. Yeah, especially in this Kali Yuga, we all are surrounded by so many inauspicious, impure vibrations appearing in various ways in Kali Yuga. We are seeing that posters, the people, the social media, and the lifestyle, everything. And Varnashrama is torn to pieces. People are not in proper ashrama, proper Varna, anything. So, Khalau dosha nidhe. In such a world like this, Bhagavatam is our connection with Krishna. That is why we have to read, because if we don't read Bhagavatam, we are likely to get lost in this world of Maya, especially in this day and age. Kali Yuga is like a crash course with shortest age. Satyuga people live for 1 lakh years. Treta Yuga for 10,000. And Dwapara for 1,000. And Kali Yuga, not even 100, less than 100. So the time is short, but the Maya is intense. That is why in a short time you are given Bhuloka to Goloka. Somebody may wonder how we are so fallen souls, how we can go to Goloka. This is the answer. That the age is short, the lifespan is short, but the Maya tests are intense. So if you all want to pass the Maya test, we have to hold on to Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam was the shelter that Parikshit took and he succeeded. We also should take shelter of Bhagavatam and succeed. So 4 points are made here. One is about avoiding spiritual complacency. Second one is doing seva with seva bhav. Third one talks about, laying a strong foundation for preaching. Otherwise, if you want to say something meaningful, unless we study, we cannot speak meaningfully. Preaching to other people. First two, we are talking about ourselves, avoiding spiritual complacency and seva bhav. Third one is about preaching and offering guidance to others. And the fourth one talks about developing a strong internal connection, eternal and internal connection with Krishna. And that type of connection will give us stability in our spiritual life in this dangerous age of Kali Yuga. So these are reasons why we should have a continued touch with Srimad Bhagavatam. You presented all the points very well, Prabhu. Very nice. At the same time, when you give some examples, those are things people are likely to remember, because examples can be pictorially remembered. Yeah. And otherwise, the concepts are sometimes little vague, and people, it tends to evaporate from the head. So, at least the key words you can say, like service attitude is the soul of service. When you say that, is something people will remember. Similarly, spiritual complacency um, and doubts can be, can be given up. How do we give up? It's like, then three examples you gave: watering the plant, makes the tree grow; putting petrol in the car makes the car move from one place to another. Similarly, putting Bhagavatam will keep us progressive, and we will not be stagnated or stuck in doubts, surrounded by doubts, things like that. So some examples, if you highlight, then people are likely to remember those examples. Generally, when you speak a lecture, you say the concept and then give the examples. While recollecting, you remember the example and then remember the concept. You go reverse way. Because which is easy to remember? The examples are more easy to remember. Isn't it? So let us thank this group. Haribo! Strong foundation in preaching. For preaching guidance.
Strong foundation in preaching. From a practical point of view, okay, one cannot share what one does not have. So, from my experience, I've found rather than people just sitting in a big group and hearing, if we make smaller groups and give responsibility for everyone to prepare and then come and make a presentation. For example, we are discussing a particular chapter of Bhagavatam. So there are 40 verses. So if there are about 8 people, so you allot them, each person, about 5 verses.
And they work hard and
which they have to study and understand and then present.
Yes.
So that way, they will really have an incentive to study. Correct. And especially if you have to present, you have to know the subject matter.
And I think Gauranga Darshan must have given all of you for your after every canto is over, there is one presentation. How many of you have done presentation till now? They all have done. See, they all have done. Yeah, it's very nice. And very nice topics also. In fact, those topics are so good. In Pune, I am taking also for Sal Sambhashan, we call it. So Sal Sambhashan, there are about 50 topics I took from your list only. Very, very beautiful list. So in Pune, they give a 20-minute presentation. So the brahmacharis, they prepare very colorful PPTs also they bring. They give a presentation based on Bhagavatam. Charts, PPTs. Yeah. I think you have not yet given presentation, I think you should get a chance also. Yeah. Oh, you just came. Oh, right. Yeah. You will get opportunity also.
And the other small thing I wanted to point out is the corporate world, there are generally 2 streams. One is called the management stream and the other is the technical stream. So though for people who are interested in controlling and managing, etc., so they get into the management stream.
Correct.
So what happens is eventually they will not need to update on their technical knowledge.
Correct.
And so they are just into, sending emails, managing others, conducting meetings, etc. Whereas the other stream, so they are people most likely in the training division or so where they have to continuously learn, be in touch with technology.
Okay.
So I think that that is something that.
And as far as Bhagavatam is concerned, and in ISKCON society, many people are both managers and preachers also. Like for example, I am a temple president in Pune. So I have to manage. If I don't study Bhagavatam, then I am likely to lack service attitude in my dealing with people. Because our Vaishnav Sadachar can only be developed. I can't say that, okay, let me call Gauranga Darshan, who will come and give lecture. He's technically sound in Bhagavatam. And I will only do management. No, it will not work. A devotee in ISKCON cannot be only a manager. He has to have a spiritual backup. The spiritual juice has to be experienced, because ours is not a material organization. It's a spiritual organization. Even the soul of organizational culture is Vaishnava culture. Without Vaishnava culture, we cannot run an organization like ISKCON, because we are a voluntary organization where we don't pay salary to people. People actually do seva as a service they do. So we have to handle the people like we deal amongst the devatas with proper culture. We have to deal. So for having proper culture, then regular study of the Bhagavatam and internalization, assimilation, that becomes all important. And we don't demarcate, these are leaders, managers, and these are preachers. Everybody has to be in touch with Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam forms like a foundation, we can say. So Prabhupada books are the basis. Yeah, thank you.